Bitcoin is the world's first cryptocurrency, and it works because of the world's first public blockchain network. What does Bitcoin do? It's simple. It lets you send and receive value to and from anyone in the world using nothing more than a computer and an internet connection. Now, why is it revolutionary? Because unlike every other tool for sending money over the internet, it works without the need to trust a middleman. The lack of any corporation in between means that Bitcoin is the world's first public digital payments infrastructure. And by public, I simply mean available to all and not owned by any single entity. Now, we have public infrastructure for information, for websites, for email. It's called the internet. But the only public payments infrastructure that we have is cash, as in paper money. And it only works in face-to-face transactions. Before Bitcoin, if you wanted to pay someone remotely over the phone or the internet, then you could not use public infrastructure. You would rely on a private bank to open their books and add a ledger entry that debits you and credits the person you're paying. And if you both don't use the same bank, well, then there'll be multiple banks and multiple ledger entries in between. With Bitcoin, the ledger is the public blockchain, and anyone can add an entry to that ledger, transferring their Bitcoins to someone else. And anyone, regardless of their nationality, race, religion, gender, sex, or creditworthiness, can for absolutely no cost create a Bitcoin address in order to receive payments digitally. Bitcoin is the world's first globally accessible public money. Is it perfect? No. Neither was email when it was invented in 1972. Bitcoin's not the best money on every margin. It's not yet accepted everywhere. It's not used often to quote prices, and it's not always a stable store of value. But it is working, and the mere fact that
And for what? So your multitude of computers and servers could solve some abstract math equations resulting in the mining of Bitcoin. Worth millions right now, whoopee, but backed by what? Nada, nix, zot.
What's the dollar backed by since we went off the gold standard?
Well, roads, the military, industry, the credit of the federal government, that sort of thing. But I get your point.
You heard it here first. Bitcoin is going to zero. Zero. When it comes out, zero.
Это был вызов, ё-моё.
Несется? Скоро!
Level. We have not been on such a path for some time, which just means that the debt is growing faster than the economy. This is not the time to act on those concerns. This is the time to use the great fiscal power of the United States to do what we can to support the economy and try to get through this with as little damage to the longer run productive capacity of the economy as possible. The time will come again, and reasonably soon, I think, where we can think about a long-term way to get our fiscal house in order, and we absolutely need to do that. But this is not the time to be, in my personal view, this is not the time to let that concern, which is a very serious concern, but to let that get in the way of us winning this battle, really.
Check out Bitcoin, surging more than 15% this week. Our very own crypto baller says another big breakout could be coming. So, BK, how many days is it till the halving?
It's about 11 days to the halving. And so what that means, what people should know is that, as the whole world is quantitative easing, Bitcoin's about to be quantitative hardening. So they're going to cut the daily supply, or the software is going to cut the daily supply. It doesn't mean that the price of Bitcoin is being cut in half. It just means that the daily supply is being cut in half. You might want to think about it like oil, where all of a sudden in 11 days, half the oil rigs are turned off. And so therefore that supply gets reduced. In the past, this has been a catalyst for very, 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 very big run-ups. We've had a tremendous run-up coming into this. It's got some wood to chop around 9,000. But I think in the medium to long term, you now have an asset that is going to be more scarce than gold based on the stock-to-flow ratio in an environment where the entire world is printing money.
Why isn't this a sell the news event?
It very well may be. I mean, if you look back at the last two, we've had quite a run-up. If you look back at the last two, it took about 30 to 60 days for this really to filter through the market. So you could have after this, remember, this is how the miners make their money, is by those Bitcoin rewards. Right. So some of the weaker miners might actually have to sell out. But 30 to 60 days from now, we could see a nice run up again.